Well, I want to welcome everybody here, all the family and friends. By the way, I got notes because later on my daughter made me learn about a 47 8-count dance, so bear with me. I want to welcome all the family and friends who come here today to celebrate Jimmy and Katie's wedding. I want to take a minute to thank Jim and Sandy for going way above and beyond what ever been expected and making this day one that they'll never forget. Jim and Sandy, I want to thank you for raising a son that is amazing in so many ways. This pollen's been out here all day long. It's driving me crazy. Jimmy is one of the hardest working young men I've ever met. He's humble and caring and strong. And all those characteristics start with the mother and father. That's where they come from. Jimmy's the type of young man that if I would have had the chance to handpick a husband for my daughter, I would pick Jimmy. I want to take a quick moment. I want to thank Rhonda, Katie's mom, for all the years of putting all these kids ahead of herself. And even though things didn't turn out the way we planned years ago, we got 4 amazing kids. I want to thank my wife, Shay, because since the day we've been married, those same 4 kids, she's treated like her very own. She's gone way above and beyond what a stepmother would ever do. By the way, Katie said I had 5 minutes. I laughed at her. You know, I'll never forget the first time I ever met Jimmy. So I was talking to Katie and we were going to go to meet at La Napolera's and she was going to bring some friends. Well, I'd heard through the grapevine that one of those friends was the guy she'd been seeing. So we met there for dinner, and throughout the course of the night, you know, I was trying to figure out, because she never formally introduced me. She never said, this is Jimmy and this is my guy. So throughout the course of the night, I'm kind of trying to figure out who this guy is, because I really don't know that Jimmy is the guy at this point. So the whole way through, I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm just kind of seeing how everybody's acting with each other and everything. And I really kind of thought I had it figured out. And about a week later, Jimmy and Katie come over for a cookout at the house. And Katie comes walking up with the wrong guy. and I ain't gonna lie to you, I think I recognize the guy I thought it was. I think he's right over here. Yeah. You remember that night? I think you were there.
No.
So for some reason I thought it was the dark-haired guy. But anyway, she didn't come walking up with the wrong guy. She came walking up with the right guy. No doubt. Well, once I finally figured out who he really was, you know, you couldn't help but like him. You know, this guy, he comes up, he loves to hunt, loves to fish, loves the gators. You know, I mean, the guy brought me an 18-pack of Busch Light every time he came to see me. So I started wondering, actually, maybe Katie handpicked Jimmy for me. Well, as time went by, it was obvious that Jimmy and Katie had something very, very special. And the more we all got to know Jimmy, it was obvious to us why Katie loved him so much. We all knew it was just a matter of time before y'all got married. And I have to admit, I was really impressed with Jimmy because there was a point that he actually asked me for Katie's hand in marriage. You know, I didn't even know that was still a thing. I mean, I didn't even know that they still did that. And when he asked me, I remembered how I felt so many years ago when I was sitting in my Chevelle in the driveway at Rhonda's mom's house, and my armpits were dripping with sweat. My stomach was turned inside out. Okay, I'm nervous because you don't know if you got the words already rehearsed in your head, if they're going to be right, and if mom's going to be okay with it. By the way, just because they don't mind you hanging out with their daughter doesn't necessarily always mean they want you to marry them. So there's that. You got that sitting on the back burner. So I remember sitting there and nervous, sweating, scared to death, and having to sit there in my Chevelle, and I go, okay, I've got to get enough courage to step out of this car, walk up the stairs, knock on that door. And so when Jimmy asked me, I knew exactly how he felt. I felt it. I remember. I remember sitting there thinking, poor Jimmy's probably sitting in his truck. He's sitting in his truck, and he's nervous. He's sweating. Jimmy knows me. So he's sweating. His stomach's all tore up. He's trying to figure out, are the words right? What if I said something? What if they're not quite right? So as I'm sitting there thinking about him, I really start feeling for you, bro. I'm like, because I know what it was like. And that was Rhonda's mom. She's a sweetheart. I'm not Rhonda's mom. So I know how you must have been feeling. So I was sitting there and I'm thinking, Jimmy is one hell of a guy. To be sitting in that truck with all that pressure of knowing that I'm fixing to ask Katie's dad for her hand in marriage, where you found the strength to take your thumb and hit send on that text. Bro, you are the man. It's a good thing I got a good signal in my house. Jimmy, if you remember the first time I met you, I gave you some advice about Katie. I told you Katie is not a 3 strikes and you're out kind of girl. She's a 1 foul ball and you're hitting the bricks, bro. And obviously, you took that advice because you made it here today. Okay? So now I'm going to give you another piece of advice. Okay? Whenever you're dealing with Katie, because now you're the husband. You're not the boyfriend no more. You're the husband. So now when you're dealing with Katie, any conversation you're ever having with her, good, bad, happy, sad, you are the husband now. You get the last 2 words. Make sure of that. Just remember, those last 2 words should always be, yes, Katie. Katie is the middle of our 3 daughters. All their lives, they were known as the Sawyer girls. Today, the last of the Sawyer girls got married. And in the same way that Lindsay and Michael have the Henderson boys, and Brandy and Cody have the Cruz boys, Jimmy, Katie, I personally think the O'Leary girls has a nice ring to it. No pressure. It's something I was thinking about. Okay, all you guys know Katie, but I'm going to tell you there was 2 sides to Katie. Okay, the one side was Katie was our most loving child. Just like Jim was talking about last night at the dinner. She was our most loving child. If you ever needed a hug, boom, she was there with a hug. If you ever needed help, boom, she was there with help. She's just that type of child. And I gotta be honest, it's from her mom and her G-Maw. It wasn't from me. She got that from them. Okay? Then there was the other side of Katie. When that side came out, for some reason they always referred to her as Little John. Which might be the reason why, when the preschool house was calling me at work, when she was, preschool, you're like, what, 4 years old? Okay. You shouldn't even know how to be bad yet. When the preschool house was calling me at work and telling me how Katie was waiting in line at the water fountain, and the little boy in front of her bent down to fix his shoe. So Katie kneed him in the head and knocked him over and got in front of him. Or when I'm at work and Rhonda has to call me and tell me that Katie goes off into the bedroom to grab a wiffle ball bat, to come back into the living room where her cousin Blake is minding his own business, watching Barney, the dinosaur, and Katie comes in there and hits him right across the head for no apparent reason. So I had to deal with those situations. Katie, as the years have gone by, my pride in you has grown and grown. You've never ceased to amaze me. I can't remember one thing you ever told me that you were going to do, that you were going to accomplish, that you didn't do. If it was as simple as, Daddy, I'm going to learn how to slap hit in T-ball just like the big girls, you did it. You said, Daddy, I'm going to be a Gator cheerleader. She did it. She said, Daddy, I'm going to be a nurse. She did it. I can't, wait a minute, there was that one time. That one time when Katie was 10 years old and we were at Hooters in Atlanta. And we just got finished eating. And at 10 years old, Katie looked at me with the most serious look a 10-year-old could ever have on her face. And she says, Dad, when I grow up, I'm not bagging groceries at Publix. I'm working at Hooters. So the one time you did, that's okay with me. I'm getting ahead of my nose. Katie, you're an amazing daughter, sister, and friend. Congratulations today on becoming the perfect wife for the perfect husband. One last thing I want to talk to you about. Up to this point, Katie and Jimmy, you've been involved. Your whole relationship, you've been involved. At this point in your life, you're now married. Now you're committed. Do you understand the difference? Well, that look on your face tells me that maybe I need to take it to the country for you. Okay? So I live out in Callahan, and out in Callahan, we kind of explain things a little different sometimes. The difference between being involved and being committed is like ham and eggs breakfast. You understand me? Because the chicken is involved, but that pig, he's committed. And I love you, buddy.